Pregnancy is a special time in a woman's life. Baby OA Engage tells you what's in store for you in the months ahead.
Essentially, it's the first 3 months that are difficult for the patient, especially when she's pregnant for the first time, because it's the fear of the unknown. The person doesn't know whether she can travel, which normally we say you're not allowed to travel first 3 months, not because traveling does any harm, but the roads in India are not good. It's also hard because there's nausea and vomiting, and you should remember that you have to trust the doctor who will not give you any wrong medication. So you don't have to be a martyr, take the medicines, go to work, take a safe transport, and you can cross the 3 months very comfortably if you are a little bit sensible and not too anxious.
So the first trimester nutrition is more or less something which has to be very simple. Whatever you were eating before you got pregnant, of course, minus the outside eats. One conscious thing which you could be doing is accommodating plenty of liquids. The other strong point which I want to make is try to avoid offending odors and offending tastes, just that you're able to at least keep into your tummy whatever you are able to eat at that point in time. The third dictum, or rather the line of management for a first trimester nutritional support is break your meal, in such a way that you don't end up feeling full. So what I'm trying to say is keep it as small frequent meals.
We move on to the second trimester, where it's a happy time. And in this time, you don't have any medical issues really surfacing. And around 20th week, we do what is called an anomaly scan, where we check the structures, we look for structural defects in the baby. And this is a very detailed scan and ideally done by a fetal medicine expert and not by a general radiologist. Then we move, here you can expect sometimes high blood pressures coming, and you might have swelling. Both these, swelling is very common in pregnancy. Nearly 80% of women will have swelling in pregnancy. And high blood pressure, if is found, then we will have to start medication because it's far away from the term. In Asians and Southeast Asians, it's very common to develop diabetes mellitus, sugar in pregnancy, and we do the screening for sugar, diabetes, around the 20th to 24th week. Important thing is to screen you because Asians, particularly Indians, they have obesity, they have truncal obesity, and we have genetically also higher incidence of diabetes in pregnancy.
Second trimester is very, very important because most of the women who have been suffering from nausea, vomiting, invariably tend to start appreciating foods to a slightly larger extent. So all these discomforts ideally take a backseat. The first nutrient of gross importance would be calcium. The reason is because the baby's bone density is starting to get strengthened. So usually from the second month itself, the calcium deposition in the bones will begin and it will reach a peak by the time the baby is in the 6th month. The general recommendation is at least 2 glasses of milk in a day and at least 1 to 2 fresh bowls of yogurt. So that way speaking, iron and vitamin C is a very, very good combo. So when talking about vitamin C, I'm talking about all your citrus fruits, starting from oranges, starting from Mossambi. You could even accommodate a lemonade. You could look at taking a fresh tomato juice or many a times even having tomato soups. One more potent source of vitamin C happens to be your amla, what we call as typical Indian gooseberry. Protein is yet another nutrient which needs to be given the right amount of justice. At least 2 out of 3 meals have to have a very judicious combination of carbohydrate and protein.
We reached 28 weeks and we're now moving on to the third trimester. Now, first 2 months of the third trimester are comfortable. It is almost the same as the second trimester. But the last 1 month becomes uncomfortable because the baby is growing. There will be pain under the chest wall because the diaphragm is pushed up. You might develop high blood pressure. Every week you have to have a checkup. You have swelling, you have breathlessness, and you're uncomfortable. This is the time I like to advise patients that they should not expect to go from the computer room to the labor room because you might miss complications that you yourself it goes unnoticed. So the last month is you should try to stay home and work from home.
And when we talk about, by and large, the third trimester nutrition, the first point that I'd like to make is the baby usually quadruples its fat mass in starting from the third trimester. So which is very important that as the pregnant belly gets bigger, it is very important to accommodate small frequent meals, to avoid outside eating as much as possible as we approach the expected date of delivery, to stick on to more of home-based food, to look at definitely spices which help in having enhanced digestion abilities like ajwain, like saunf or fennel, like using jeera, what we call as cumin seeds, using some cinnamon, which can ward off totally nausea, vomiting, heartburn, etc. So these are some of the elements which will help to ideally tide over various discomforts which especially can happen in the third trimester. So taking plenty of water as well as walking after meals, not walking for extended point in time, at one stretch always. All these are main points which need to be considered when we talk about third trimester nutritional support.